Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the last week in March. What's in store for us? And I think you're going to be very interested to find out. So remember that I'm funneling everything through the moon. The moon is the emotional body, but it actually represents the public, the world, the mass consciousness. So as I relate day by day of what's happening through the moon, you're going to have a better understanding on how to make plans in your own life. So with that, before I begin, I always want to remind everyone to sign up for my free newsletter, which go to galacticcenter.org. When you do so, you will get all of my predictions delivered to your email address absolutely free every week. And if you would like to study with me, learn Vedic astrology, go to my university website, universityofvedicastrology.com. So let's begin with the last week here in March, which will begin with the 22nd. So on the 22nd, we have the moon in Leo, and it's going to be in the nakshatra Purva Falguni. Now, Purva Falguni is a nakshatra. It's considered a marriage nakshatra. And what that means is this should entail issues around relationships. And it does, because this day we have Mars and Saturn in the 7th house from the moon. The 7th house is all about how we relate in partnerships. Now, Venus is there as well, thank goodness, because Venus can bring a little stability here. But otherwise, you'll probably feel attacked. You'll probably feel discordant in your relationships in terms of trying to get your point across, and you feel like your partner is being very combative. But Venus is there, so there's hope. You're going to probably come to a better conclusion, but it is still a very difficult day. Even though I love the moon in Leo in Purva Falguni because it does make us more creative, focusing in on expressing ourselves. Just make sure you say the right thing to your partner. But looking deeper, Neptune, Sun, Rahu, Mercury are all in the 8th house from the moon. This deals with deep introspection, psychological introspection. And it may be very hard, the things that you are realizing through this day. Don't be overly judgmental of yourself and especially of others. Now, with Jupiter being 9th from the moon, and it is casting its aspect to the moon, one good thing about this day is your spirituality, being in touch more with your spiritual truths and studying the metaphysical and spiritual truths. And that's another thing, the 8th house where this array of planets sit 8th, it can deal with deep metaphysical studies that will advance your spirituality. So that's the positive. But be aware relationships are going to be a little bit combative on this day. So moving forward to March 23rd, the moon is in Purva Falguni, but it's going to shift later, way later in the day in Uttara Falguni. So it's in the Falgunis. The Falgunis deal with relationships. And still we have the Mars, Saturn, Venus opposing the moon. But now that the moon has moved up into a latter degree, it's being aspected more by Venus while Jupiter is aspecting the moon. So I gotta say on this day, be aware it can start out with confrontation, but it will end peacefully with much better results because Venus and Jupiter are aspecting the moon. So in other words, on the 23rd, it's a day where things will improve, get better from the difficulties we're coming out of. And looking at this, there can be some great realizations metaphysically based on the fact that Jupiter and Venus aspect the moon, so it lessens the hardship of where the other planets are. So apparently there can be a great healing. All right, so moving forward to the 24th. Now the 24th is the day before the full moon, which actually on the 25th is a lunar eclipse. So the energy is really intensifying by the 24th because the moon will be in Virgo, and that means it's approaching Ketu, but it is for the most part going to be in Uttara Falguni, which does deal with relationships, but this eclipse energy deals with a lot of misunderstandings. Why? Because we have this eclipse where the sun is coming together with Mercury and Rahu. So when it comes to relationships, be cautious, be aware. But I want to say this day, you're going to start seeing these fears, these scares coming about concerning what? Health and healing. And healing on an emotional level, the consciousness of the planet. People are scared. People are worried. There's so much happening. And this eclipse is bringing a lot of fear into the world. Now, the Mars, Saturn, Venus will be in the 6th house from the moon, which is another indication that things are not okay. People are fighting, people are struggling, and I think this has a lot to do with maybe a health scare that is approaching with this lunar eclipse. So lay low during the time, the day before and the time of the eclipse. So looking at March 25th, this is the day of the lunar eclipse where the sun and the moon oppose one another. It's a lunar eclipse is a full moon, but the light of the moon is darkened. And this brings out something that you were unaware of, but I believe it's going to be something quite difficult. Again, I still think there's something about health and healing going on in the planet. Maybe that they are actually hiding great information about healing and how the planet can be helped. Furthermore, people are in fear. And this is with Mars coming closer and closer to Saturn. There's an imminent fear of warlike situations happening on the planet. Things are getting hotter, heating up, and they're difficult. I don't like the looks of this eclipse. Plus, on the day of this eclipse, Mercury is at 29 degrees of Pisces and goes into Aries this day. It's right there on the prefaces of what we call, or it's right there, I shouldn't say on the prefaces, it's there, Gandanta, which means there's going to be major upsets, that things are out of control. There could be more storms, more eruptions around the world with earthquakes or volcanic eruptions. Things are really starting to shake up. So be aware, people are going to be out of control. Now, thank goodness, because by March 26th, now this is later in the day, earlier in the day, we still have this disruptive energy where people are afraid, people are scared, and things are not okay. But I will say it's a difficult day, but there will be light coming in and a much better feel by after around 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. The moon will shift into Libra. So much better on the 26th because Libra is the sign of peace, tranquility, Relationships. This is a good day to go out and celebrate relationships. Why? Because Jupiter is in the 7th house from the moon. It brings joy, happiness, relief, and the Mars, Saturn, Venus are in the 5th house. So it's a great day to open your heart, to get better acquainted with loved ones, relationships. Thank goodness we needed relief after the days prior to this day, the 26th. Let's move to the 27th. The moon's still in Libra, and it's moved up to even a stronger position. And it's in the nakshatra now called Swati. Swati is the nakshatra that's great for business. So it's a good day for business transactions. You'll find that things can come together, be in agreement. The moon is even more, it's closer to the opposition with Jupiter that brings relationships and people together even more. This is a lovely day for connectiveness, relationships, and opening your heart to love. March 28th, the moon is still in Libra throughout this day, and more than anything, it moves into a much better nakshatra called Vishaka. Vishaka is ruled by Jupiter, so the moon is exactly opposed Jupiter today and on into the evening. This is a great day for love, romance, expressing your deep heart feelings to your partner. This will be a beautiful day. Go out on a first date. It will be a success. It's all about love and connectedness today. And even the Mars, Saturn, Venus being in the 5th house from the moon opens your heart. This is a wonderful day for love, romance, and finding peace with one another. Use this day for what it's good for. March 29th, the moon now moves into Scorpio, which is its debilitation sign. Not a good placement for the moon. So things are starting to get a bit more difficult. And Scorpio can deal with deep emotions. It can deal with jealousies and problems. And one thing I see on this day is problems in the home, in the family. I want you to be aware that today you could have problems in the home, such as appliances breaking down. Make sure that you're careful around fires and things of that nature in the home. Put out your candles. You might even find it's a day you want to redecorate your home, put some changes in your home. But that's basically because I think you're going to be unhappy with something that's in your home going on. And if your mother's still around, check on her. It could be a difficult day. She may need some emotional support. And the other thing is, it's a good day for you to look into different health regimes, eat healthy, things of that nature. Pay attention to what you're eating because it makes a huge difference in how you're feeling, especially on this day. March 30th, the moon is still in Scorpio. Now it's moving to the later degrees of Scorpio, and now it is in the nakshatra Jyeshta. Jyeshta is a very difficult nakshatra, especially emotionally. People are not feeling good about themselves. They're feeling a sense of jealousy and envy, and for the most part, you might experience jealousy directed towards you. Now, people don't ever admit they're jealous, so just be aware that sometimes the anger that's directed towards you, it's because of jealousy, so be aware of that. There are problems with your home, your family, in the house. Make sure you take care of matters there, and if you need to, make sure you have home insurance and car insurance to protect yourself during this time. And as well, it is a good time to look after your health because things could go wrong. But what I'm seeing also is that there can be some deceptive things going on. You can be compulsive, obsessive with your thinking, so be aware of that. Now let's take it to the last day of the month. Now for most of the day, the moon will still be in Scorpio and it will be Gandanta till the end of the day. Now let me see, I'm going to take it back because on the 31st, it will be around, well, it's around 12 noon that the moon will move into Sagittarius. And so for the most part, the moon's in Sagittarius and it's in the nakshatra Mula, which is not an easy nakshatra. It can deal with destruction. And once again, I'm seeing some difficulty with things around the house. Make sure you check on the gas, fires, things of that nature. And I just say that simply because in the 4th from the moon is where the sun and Rahu reside. But Venus today just moved into Pisces, which will bring forth much more creativity and advancement in the creative arts in the month to come, while Venus is exalted in Pisces. But going back to where Mars and Saturn are, they're in the 3rd house from the moon. Please be careful driving. This can cause accidents, and if you're not careful. But if you're careful, you're fine. It's like you just can't be too impulsive or impatient when you're driving. But I will say Jupiter is going to start aspecting the moon, and it's a time of creative developments. New ideas being put forth in terms of work, or if you're an entrepreneur, go forward. This is a time of great change and creative ideas. Although be careful driving today. And one more thing, if you have brothers and sisters, try not to talk to them today because you could have arguments. This could be very, very disruptive with your siblings. So with that, I've concluded the last week of March, and this is in preparation for April. Get ready. We have an intense month to come in April with the solar eclipse and the great awakening of the Jupiter and Uranus conjunction. So with that, I think I'll close. Remember, if you would like more information on me, go to my website, galacticcenter.org. And if you would like to study with me, become my student, go to my university website, which is universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.